Lima. What's up? All right. I'm super excited to be here. I will be talking mostly about augmented reality. This is virtual reality. We're going to be talking more about augmented reality. But people always ask me, how did I get started in virtual reality and augmented reality, being that it's a very tech-heavy industry? And I can tell you guys a story. Back in 2004, I was working for CNN. And part of my job was to watch all the raw footage that was coming in from the war in Iraq. So when you have that type of job, you have to see things that are very unpleasant, right? So you have to kind of turn your humanity switch off just a little bit in order to kind of get by. And for me, it wasn't until I had my first virtual reality experience that I didn't feel like I was able to turn it fully back on. I was at a conference very much like this one about 2.5 years ago. I used to be in the Periscope live streaming universe, and I put on a headset. And I was taken into this experience called confinement, created by The Guardian, where you are placed in a 6x9 solitary confinement cell, where prisoners spend 90% of their time. Within 3 to 4 minutes, I had to take the headset off. I was completely claustrophobic, and several things happened. I said, wow, this is the future of storytelling in some level, or story living, as I call it now. And this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I did a very hard pivot into technology. And now I do this every day. Before we move forward, I kind of want to start with some definitions in case you guys are not, don't really understand the differences. How many here have tried virtual reality? Just kind of a show of hands. Okay, good. How many of you guys have played Pokemon Go? More, Snapchat, et cetera. So probably more people have had an experience with augmented reality. So virtual reality is pretty much right now, you have to wear one of these headsets. This is the Oculus Go, and you're sent into a fully immersive environment. It could be a 360 video, or it could be a CGI created environment, where if you look up or down or to the sides, you're literally teleported into a different reality. Okay, so in some way, shape, or form, it's kind of hacking your brain a little bit because you're in a completely different world. And augmented reality, on the other side, adds to your world. So when you guys were playing Pokemon and you had your phone up and you were looking for Pikachu somewhere, right? You saw tons of people doing that. It was adding a digital overlay to your reality. So it's the basic difference is this. Virtual reality creates worlds. Augmented reality adds to your world. I'm up here preaching, telling you guys, what augmented reality and virtual reality are the future, but don't take it from me. Take it from all these guys. Every one of the major tech companies, every one of the social media marketing companies are investing millions, if not billions of dollars in the next phase, in augmented reality, virtual reality, AI, voice, blockchain, and this is part of it. There's basically a shift in content, or really content is expanding. It's going from content that is 2D and flat to content that is 3D, 360, and holographic. Okay, and this is going to present opportunities and also challenges for everyone here. So the first part of my talk is really gonna kind of walk you guys through some of the most used augmented reality campaigns of different price scales. Some are easier to implement than others. So you guys can start thinking about how can we use these technologies in our marketing strategies. So the first one I'm going to talk to you guys is an augmented reality standalone app on your phone. This is an example from Porsche. You are here, the company I work at as a futurist. We were hired by Porsche to create a proof of concept where people would be able to kind of bring in a Porsche into their home, an augmented reality Porsche into their home, and they would be able to customize it whichever way they would want to. So we created a standalone app for them. So basically they would go on their phone, they would download it, and they were able to customize this. This was created for a reason, because people are spending less and less time at dealerships. Like, who really wants to go to a dealership and buy the car? So with Porsche being a passion brand, what we figured out was that the people that are customizing their Porsches are really high income. They don't have 2 days, which is normally what it takes, for you to spend at the Porsche dealership customizing your Porsche down to the T. So how do we get these people who are going to spend a lot of money to use augmented reality to move this forward and continue with the sales? So we actually created this proof of concept for them, and this proof of concept, which is an augmented reality app, actually became a marketing campaign. We were able to launch this Porsche AR Kit app the same day that the iPhone 10 came out. We did no marketing. It was kind of literally just there. And we actually got over 1 million downloads in 3 months. And we were in Apple's apps that we love. So it was a huge, huge win for us. And like I said, this is pretty much an extra app on your phone that has augmented reality. Another type of campaign that is being done is with printed media. And this is pretty much an example of the Time magazine. This has been done, by the way, this type of augmented reality has been done for, I would say 5 to 7 years, but now it's kind of like really starting to pick up, and where you would have a printed item, in this case Time magazine, where you would pick up your phone, open their app, point it at the magazine, and all of a sudden you would have these stories pop up. So next slide, please. So very, very similar to what you guys saw with 19 Crimes, which I think Jessica mentioned, and I know Brian did too. It's one of our favorite use cases as it pertains to printed items and how people are able to experience a brand firsthand. So this is pretty much a printed asset on a piece of paper that has what is called a trigger. And when you open it up, you go to an app, and the app reacts to that trigger and automatically plays video or knows what to do. Okay, the next one is augmented reality integrated into an app. So not a standalone app that is created for augmented reality, like the Porsche example. This is an app, for example, this is a picture from Wayfair. So Wayfair and IKEA, both on their apps, already have augmented reality, where you're able to kind of place a chair, a table into your actual house to see how it would look. One of the reasons IKEA did this is because a lot of money they were losing came from returns. People would take an item, place it at home, build it, right? Place it at home, and then all of a sudden it didn't fit. So they had a lot of returns. So they brought it back. Can we do the next slide, please, to kind of show guys a little bit how that works? It's pretty much opening the IKEA app, going to the item, choosing to place it in your house, place a table right here. I can see how it would look. I can actually, because it is an augmented reality asset, I'm actually able to walk around it because it's 3D and kind of see what it would look like, how tall it would be. I can tell you that IKEA is also looking at adding augmented reality when it comes to building their furniture, which I think will be very useful if you ever try to set up some pieces of IKEA furniture, right? But yeah, this is a very, very practical and easy use case. I live in Georgia, and I get to work also with some of the carpeting companies. Carpeting companies are already using it for you to kind of, let's say you need to replace this carpet over here. You're able to bring in their app, pull it up, choose the type of carpet you want, and kind of select an area, place the carpet there, and you would see exactly what it would look like without having to bring a sample to you. So very, very exciting. Okay, augmented reality integrated into social media. This is really one of the easiest ways you can get started with augmented reality. This is a campaign that Snapchat did for the Barca team. I'm not sure how many soccer fans are here, but they pretty much did this special lens where you would walk into the Camp Nou in Barcelona, the stadium where the Barcelona team plays, and you would walk in to this kind of, let's say, portal, walk in and kind of experience it. You would be able to look back. This is all through your phone, by the way. Look back, and you would still see kind of this portal to get out. Snapchat is one of the leading platforms for augmented reality as it pertains to social. They are doing an amazing job. They were featured actually on the cover of the art section of the New York Times this Sunday on a story on how they are pushing forward augmented reality and creating new ways for brands to communicate with audiences. So this is an example of another campaign that they did where they placed augmented reality art from Jeff Koons in Central Park. It was kind of a mixed results campaign because some people decided that they didn't like that because that's public property or whatever. So they actually went and did graffiti, augmented reality graffiti on the augmented reality art, which is kind of interesting. But it'll be interesting, and I am going to talk a little bit later about why this matters because we're going to move into a time where right here when I'm speaking, you might be able to see ads floating around me. So very similar to this. Next slide, please. Then there's also augmented reality using an HMD, a head-mounted display. All right, so these men here are in the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. This is a campaign we did for AT&T and Red Bull. And it kind of pretty much, they would put this headset on called the Microsoft HoloLens, which retails, it's only for developers really, or for enterprise. It retails between $3,000 and $5,000. So it's not, the piece of hardware that everyone's gonna get access to. But they would put the headset on, and they would see a completely different experience from just the car. They were actually seeing information about what is this part, how much does this part cost, why does this matter, what parts need to be replaced. So they were seeing kind of like, in some way, shape, or form, a holographic press release of sorts that no one else was seeing except the people wearing the headset. So very important for you guys to know that we are moving away from handsets, from our phones in our hands, the rectangles on our walls and the rectangles in our hands, to heads-up displays, to glasses. Every single one of the big mobile companies is planning for the future after mobile. And the future after mobile is actually going to be up here. This is an example of kind of something that you would see wearing the Microsoft HoloLens, pretty much holograms. I'm completely obsessed with holograms, working on my personal hologram right now. But as you can see, it has a lot of applications. If you guys are in the enterprise business, manufacturing business, anything like that, this technology is incredibly important to you. Because getting away from marketing, this technology can help you retain the information that your workers have when it comes to repairing equipment. People are getting older and leaving companies, and when they leave, they take that information with them, right? Through augmented reality and creating a repository for content, you're able to retain that information, and you're able to put it in a headset and have a newer employee put the headset on, walk around, identify the piece, and have information on how to repair that. This is extremely, extremely important for the future of work. Then there's immersive screens. Immersive screens, some people consider them augmented reality, some people don't. I personally do. This is a campaign that Pepsi did in London. Yeah, they want to sell you Pepsi, but the real purpose of this campaign was to wow you and to bring something completely different to your reality. So let's pretend you guys are waiting for the bus. Can you play the next slide? Now it's aliens. So they used a very clever use of immersive screens to create that augmentation of the world, placing these digital items that really were not there, right? But at first, the person sitting there is like, doing a double take, like, what am I seeing? And eventually, like, okay, this is a campaign, right? There was a very successful campaign. There's also something else called projection mapping, which, once again, some people consider augmented reality, some people don't. I think it is fantastic. Not sure if you guys watched America's Got Talent last week, but they had some amazing projection mapping. I didn't have a video to show you guys, but it's pretty much, someone just standing here, and there's different projectors kind of showing different content, and it looks like an augmented world. So this is immersive screens. One of the biggest questions I get is, how much does this cost? Because I'm sure everyone here is thinking like, oh my goodness, this looks really expensive, right? Well, there's ways to find budget, and there are different budgets when it comes to projects, which is really important. Where do you find the money to do this? What I'm finding from my work with brands and with the enterprise side is that it's coming from innovation budgets, it's coming from marketing, PR, digital, social, and even from HR, which is interested in how to use this technology to train the workers of tomorrow. More and more Gen Z, like younger millennials and Gen Z are coming into the workforce. They're mostly gamers. They like gamified content. How do you use this technology to gamify training? I did an interview the other day with Supply Chain Risk. I'm not a supply chain expert, but what I told them was really interesting. I said, look, this technology allows a worker to put a headset on, and let's say they're sorting your Amazon packages. You want your Amazon package to get here quickly, right? And they're sorting those Amazon packages, and through augmented reality and different triggers and pictures on those packages, they're able to turn this into a game, and to gamify the task of moving packages around. So it turns into Tetris. So a worker is going to enjoy that a lot more than they're going to enjoy looking at packages and moving them around. So next slide, please. So what are some of the current AR tools that everyone in this room right now can have access to? Let me tell you. This is Snap's Lens Studio. Everyone here can download that and can start creating augmented reality lenses. You do not need to know how to code. You can just start creating. So I would urge you, if anyone's really interested in starting to figure out how to use this technology for your brand, start to look at this. Next one. Facebook AR Studio. This one's a little bit more complicated, but still, anyone here has access to AR Studio to start creating content. You can do some really amazing stuff. One of the big things I'm going to tell you about Facebook and augmented reality, if you were watching Facebook's developer conference, is the big push they're doing for augmented reality, and specifically what I call the next phase of e-commerce. The next phase of e-commerce is called v-commerce, virtual commerce, where you're able to buy items through Facebook, but items that are 3D posts, for example. A 3D post is basically a 3D scan, let's say, of this table, and I put it on Facebook, and you're able to kind of rotate and see the item. So if I'm buying a shoe, if I'm buying a purse, and there's a 3D scan, I'm able to kind of turn it around, look around, move it, and actually purchase it directly. Okay? And another thing they're integrating is augmented reality into Messenger with chatbots, but I'm going to get to that a little bit later. Next one, please. Two other tools that are available are Google AR Core, which is the Android developer platform for AR content. It's available to anyone who signs up to be a developer. And this one, you do need coding skills. So this one's not as easy. But if you're creating a standalone Android app, this is probably one of the platforms you're going to use. Next one, please. This is actually ARKit from Apple, the developer, let's say, tool that you're able to use. This is at Atlanta United's stadium, Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta, and we were able to place our Porsche that we created through the app in the stadium. It was pretty cool, right? So once again, this one you do need coding skills. You do need a developer to be able to create this, and usually you use this platform plus a game engine. I'm not going to get into that, but there's two game engines, Unity and Unreal. Next one, please. This is Amazon Sumerian. Amazon Sumerian, once again, everyone in this room has access to it. You can start creating virtual reality and augmented reality content without knowing how to code. Next one. So I'm going to briefly walk you guys through the case study that we did with Porsche. So keep going, please. Like I said, the biggest challenge there for Porsche was to get people into the dealership to purchase a high-ticket Porsche that is customizable. So we created a solution. This actually started off as a campaign for Microsoft HoloLens. It was a proof of concept. So we used our developers to create this for the headset. So people would come in to the dealership, put on the headset, and be able to see the Porsche and customize it. But then we saw a bigger opportunity to have more people experience this, because when you have a $3,000, $5,000 headset, how many people can actually experience that at the same time, right? So we saw the opportunity to port that from a HoloLens, a head-mounted display experience, to an experience in a standalone app. And that's what we created. And as you can see, they actually got a lot of great headlines. 1 million downloads, like I said, ARKit apps that we love, and it's extremely, extremely popular. It's not available right now. You guys can't go there and download it. Porsche did do a second one afterwards with Mission E, their electric car, and you can actually download that one and play around with it. Next one. Okay, so now we're gonna get to my favorite part of my talk. As a futurist, what I do is I talk to stealth startups, I talk to original equipment manufacturers, I talk to solutions providers that are working on futuristic solutions. And I bring all of that information back to our clients, like Lexus, Porsche, Carnival, you name it, and help them future-proof their business. So what I'm gonna show you guys right now, I hope is gonna wow you, even more than you might have been wowed already, and show you kind of what's coming down the line. So the next video that I'm gonna show you, don't play it yet, I'm not even gonna tell you what it is, because I wanna kind of gauge everyone's faces as you watch it. And can you make sure the audio is working with this one? It's super important. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Siren, and I'm a digital human. I was created by an international team of artists and engineers who wanted to challenge our ideas of what a synthetic human could be. I've got state-of-the-art real-time graphics and an unprecedented level of detail in my eyes, skin, and hair. Cool, right? But I'm more than just a collection of fancy pixels. I'm actually being driven by a real human actress and her dynamic motion capture through Unreal Engine.
All right. I will bet you whatever you want that at some point at the beginning, most of you guys thought she was real before she spoke. Okay? When you saw her face, probably thought, oh, this is just a lady. And then eventually, as you started going down and you saw her neck and her arms, you're like, wait, something's off. This is not a real person. And that's what's called the uncanny valley. When you get to that point where your brain's like, this is not a real human. But look at how close people are getting to what a digital human can look like. In this picture, this is little Michaela over here. Little Michaela is a CGI influencer. She has over 1 million followers on Instagram. She works with brands like Louis Vuitton. She gets amazing endorsements. And she's not real. She doesn't exist. But brands are flocking to her because Gen Z is very accepting of digital influencers. There's a little hologram in Japan, can't remember her name right now. She tours. She's a hologram, sings, she tours all over Japan, super popular. Okay, so this is blurring a line. This other guy is Sean. So Sean is actually a volumetric scan of a real actor, whose name is Sean. And Sean is powered by artificial intelligence, and by the voice he uses is not Sean's voice, it's someone else's voice. But this is actually an example of a hotel in Canada using a digital human as a concierge at the hotel. So you get to that hotel in Toronto, there's gonna be a screen, and you go and ask Sean, hey Sean, what's the closest Mexican restaurant? And Sean will tell you, okay? I've been able to see Sean, I've been able to see a real life demo of Sean, where, my friend holds up an iPad, Sean's right here. I can only see him through the iPad, but I can walk around him. And I can actually ask Sean, he'll be like, hey, what kind of music do you want me to dance to? Or what style do you want me to do? And I'll be like, hip hop, and he'll do hip hop. I'll say salsa, and he'll do salsa. So this is amazing, amazing technology that's coming, okay? This is gonna be integrated into chatbots. These are the digital humans you will have to deal with. And brands, okay? Brands are gonna have digital influencers that represent their brand. I had someone from IBM the other day ask me, do you think that we should work with CGI influencers, or should we create our own CGI influencer that represents our brand and our voice? So those are really interesting questions. CBS this morning actually ran a really interesting piece this morning on the ethical conflicts that come with digital humans. So next one. Okay, this is a small clip from the movie Minority Report, right? And I was like, oh, it's so futuristic. Can we roll to the next video? This is already happening, okay? This is a company called Leap Motion, who has Project North Star, and they are showcasing right now the desktop of the future. Someone's wearing a headset, and they're able to manipulate content in their space. This is spatial technology, spatial computing. Okay, next one, please. Okay, this is one of my favorites. How many of you guys here saw Black Panther? Okay, great. I'm gonna share something about the movie. I'm not gonna give you any spoilers for those of you guys that did not watch it. In a part of the movie, Shuri, who is Black Panther's sister, brilliant scientist, jumps into a holographic car. She's in Wakanda, supposedly a country in Africa. She jumps into a holographic car and drives the car while she's in Wakanda, but the car is in South Korea, okay? What if I told you that this can be done? Would you believe me? Next video, please. Oh, we need the audio for this one.
The Invisible Man. It digitally is very broad. You can see all three screens and you get a full perspective of of everything that's going on in the car. In the future, we can represent all kinds of LiDAR systems and everything, slowly.
Not sure if you guys caught that or not, but basically this is a clip that a friend of mine took from NVIDIA's Developers Conference, where Tim, the invisible man, is on stage at the auditorium driving a car in virtual reality. The car is outside the auditorium, and he's driving this car. Next. All right, something else that's really important for you guys to start listening, start just understanding what's gonna happen. The world is gonna be painted with data. Right? We're all talking about data, analytics, big thing, right? We're actually, right now, through robots, for augmented reality, for self-driving cars, et cetera, we are creating a twin world of data that's gonna cover this. And this is called the AR cloud. Okay, I'm not an AR cloud expert. It's a relatively complicated topic in some way, but what I've heard so far, and what I understand so far, is that this is really the next computing platform, and this is a bigger wealth opportunity than Google, than Facebook. This is gonna impact all our lives, okay? AR cloud, basically, like I said, is where our world's gonna be painted with data. We already have data on our phones, right? We pick up your phone, you go to Yelp, you try to find the information on the restaurant, or how to get here, how to get there. Well, everything is gonna be tagged, and there's gonna be data and information about every single place. We're just gonna be able to see it, at first through our phones, and then through headsets. Okay, next one. Okay, this is an amazing company that I hope you guys will remember. It's called Magic Leap. Magic Leap is based in Plantation, Florida, so they're not in Silicon Valley. They are one of the highest funded startups in the history of startups. Over $2 billion raised with no product. Okay? They have money from Alibaba, they have money from Google, they have money from Lucasfilms. And what they are bringing to the world this year at some point is the Magic Leap 1, which is the headset that you see this man wearing. And that is that heads-up display that I'm mentioning to you guys. It's spatial computing, where you're able to wear these headsets and interact with content in your real space, in your real world, which is really the next iteration of how you're going to engage with content. Whether it is e-commerce, the next iteration of e-commerce, whether it is a game, whether it is watching a football game. They actually have a partnership with the NBA, and you're going to start to see a lot more come from this company in the next couple of months. So I urge you to kind of keep tabs on what is happening with Magic Leap. And next slide, please. So before I end, I kind of want to say something to you guys. If there's anyone out here that heard me today and is interested in augmented reality and virtual reality, I urge you that this is the time to get involved and to be part of the industry, okay? In the 20th century, people would go to see Harry Houdini, for example, do magic. And they would just have this awe and, wow, how does he do that? These illusionists that would trick us and would do these amazing things. And I don't think I've ever seen that reaction, again, replicated truly until I don't put a headset on someone. I put a headset on someone and they're transported to a totally different world, to a totally different type of storytelling. They're living that story, they're part of that story. And when they take the headset off, if they had a great experience, you just see it in their faces, this like, wow, it was like magic. So anyone here that's interested in being part of this industry, please join me in being the magicians of the 21st century. Next slide, please. And feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and on all the social media platforms. I did write the first VR and AR marketing book ever written, so feel free to check it out if this is something that you think you need to be aware of, which I really do think you have to. So thank you very much.